Okay, welcome back. Having taken the keys off of this clarinet, this Bundy clarinet, and we have cleaned it up so that we can put it back together again. One of the things we want to check when we are cleaning up is that the tone holes are nice and sharp, particularly right in here. Okay, so that we have a good seat with our pads once we replace them, and those look fairly solid. We also want to check our springs. Here's one here, here's one here, and we want to check our springs for any rust or any pitting or any reason that we might want to actually have to change the spring. These springs are in pretty good shape. They actually look like they're fairly new. If it wasn't for the pads, the clarinet itself has been fairly well cared for, other than the pads are shot. So we're going to change a pad, and to do that, just picked a key, any old key, and what we have is we have a rather large amount of this old glue right here, and we're going to take that out first of all. We want to have the cup nicely cleaned out. And as I say, this particular type of glue, when it gets old, it gets really brittle and it just flakes. And it's not really the effect that you want. And we really want to get every little bit of it out. And we'll just use the tip of the screwdriver, because it does flake off so easily. Back with the anti-aging device. Not so much easier to see what I'm doing. Okay. Alrighty. Good. That done, we need to find the proper pad for this. Now, the cup itself is not very deep from here to here. So we're going to want we're going to want a pad that has a fairly thin backing, and this one here does. And this will work very nicely. Pads come in different sizes and different thicknesses. When you're measuring the pad for a clarinet, you measure the outside of the cup. When you're doing a saxophone, you measure the inside. And we'll measure this in millimeters. So we've got this set. And all I have to do is open it up. Get it into the jaws. The jaws of death. Alright. Okay. 17.02. Essentially a 17 millimeter pad. I already have one out. And this is our 17 millimeter pad. And we're going to put that right in there. We want to do a little dry test first to make sure that it's going to sit and seat nicely. Okay, just like that. And it does indeed seat. You'll notice that the backing, again, a little hard to see some of this stuff, but the backing is actually recessed. So here's the top of the pad here on this side, and on this side of the backing there's a slight recess. And that's why you measure the outside of the cup, because you're measuring the diameter of the part of the pad that's going to overlap the top of the cup, thusly. Okay? You're not measuring the inside diameter, you're measuring the outside. With a saxophone pad, as I said, with a saxophone pad you would measure the inside diameter because it doesn't overlap. It doesn't overlap the cup. It sits inside the cup entirely. Okay, so we've got that, and we're going to need that, and we're going to need shellac. French false shellac. All right, French shellac. This stick shellac. Now, when you're in this case we're doing all the pads. That means you take everything off. But as you saw in the video on taking the keys off, the keys kind of are staggered, stacked, and some of them are easier to get off than others. And sometimes you're only replacing one pad, but you may have to remove a couple, 3 keys to get to the one key to remove the one pad. You never, ever, 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 ever replace the pad while it's on the instrument, at least not using the method we're about to use. Okay, so here's all of our old pads. That's all crud. Here is our new pad. It's a 17. I get my pads from Allied Supply, and what I need at the moment is I need my lighter. Okay. And what we have is a candle. We have stick shellac. We have a cup. And we have our pad. And all we have to do is hold this over the candle, let it heat up on the inside, and when it heats up, we can take our stick shellac and the warm cup will heat the shellac just like that. It's easy to put too much in this. It's also easy to put not enough. You can start get the feel out of it. And there we go. A little puddle. And then we're going to put this on while it's still hot. And we'll use our pad slick, to set the pad. And we want to try to set that nice and even to begin with. Oddly enough, I do this better with my fingers than I do with this stupid pad slick. But the pad slick, I wanted you to see how it worked anyway. I need one more thing. The thing I need to do is needle it. Happen. What you want to do here is that the pad has a bladder over the pad. And we don't want... There you go. So we're going to poke a little hole in the bladder to allow any extra gases to escape. And that way it will sit flat and even. Now, and we're done.